All right, welcome to our explainer. Today, we are diving into something truly fascinating. It's this crossroads where ancient spirituality and modern science kind of smash into each other. We're talking about the idea that sound, yes, sound itself, might actually have a physical shape. And we're going to unpack what that could mean for how we understand our own minds. Let's get into it. So let's use this quote from the one and only Carl Sagan as our guide today, because the ideas we're about to explore, they're pretty out there. They really call for us to have an open mind for sure, but also a critical one, you know? It's all about looking at the evidence and just seeing where it takes us without jumping to any wild conclusions. So here's the plan. We're going to start with a feeling that might be all too familiar in our modern world. Then we'll journey back to an ancient inner science that claims to be the solution. After that, we hit the main event, the physical shape of sound. And finally, we'll see how these ideas are being pulled together today and ask, what could this all mean for our future? Okay, so let's kick things off with something a lot of us might feel deep down. It's this weird contradiction of living in a time of unbelievable progress, but still having this nagging feeling that something's missing. The source material we're looking at really throws this into sharp relief. I mean, on one hand, look at us. We've achieved incredible things in the material world. But on the other hand, so many of us feel this spiritual hole, a real lack of inner peace, even when we're surrounded by success. But here's the thing, this isn't a new problem, not by a long shot. According to ancient Vedic spiritual scientists, they saw this exact same imbalance thousands of years ago. And they had a solution, the science of mantras. It was a whole system designed specifically to focus on the growth of our inner world.
So what even is this inner science? What are we talking about here?
Well, let's take a look at the actual tools these ancient thinkers came up with to explore our own consciousness. So the ancient texts talk about two sciences that are totally intertwined. You've got the science of yantras, which is all about the outside world, the physical energy we can see, feel, and use. But what we're focused on today is the science of mantras, and that deals with the inner world, the subtle vibrational level of consciousness itself. Now, to get your head around mantra science, you have to start with this one core idea, Shabda. The best way to think of it is like the universe's background hum. It's this primordial vibration that everything, and I mean everything from rocks to our own thoughts, comes from. It's the sound you can hear, but it's also the silent vibration underneath all of reality. Okay, so if Shabda is that deep, fundamental note of the universe, then nada is the music. It's the rhythm and the melody that comes out of that deep vibration. It's how that silent potential gets organized into a flow of sound that we can actually perceive. And that relationship, from the deep source to the rhythm we experience, is absolutely key. Okay, now this is where things get really, really cool. For thousands of years, these were just spiritual ideas, philosophy. But then modern science started building tools that could literally make the invisible visible. And that brings us to the big question, right? Can something like a sound wave, something that feels so temporary, actually create a stable, physical, geometric shape? I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but let's just look at the research. I want you to meet Dr. Hans Jenny. He was a Swiss scientist who basically created a whole new field of study called cymatics, which is literally the study of visible sound. And through his work, he proved pretty conclusively that vibration isn't just something we hear. It's a creative force that can actually organize physical matter. He built this amazing device called a tonoscope to do it. And honestly, the way it works is surprisingly simple. You just play a sound into it, and that sound makes a metal plate vibrate. Then you sprinkle something simple on the plate, like sand or put a drop of water, and that stuff just spontaneously organizes itself into these beautiful, intricate patterns based purely on the frequency of the sound. And here it is. This is the big aha moment. When researchers played the sound of the ancient Vedic mantra Om into one of these devices, the pattern that formed in the sand was a practically perfect match for the Sri Yantra, a sacred geometric symbol that's thousands of years old. Let that sink in. An ancient sound created an ancient symbol. It was a direct, observable link between a vibration and a physical form. Mind-blowing. So as you can imagine, a discovery like that led some people to say, hey, maybe we need a new kind of science, a unified approach that doesn't build a wall between the physical world and the world of consciousness. I love this analogy from the source text. It really helps paint a picture. Right? We all know that if you toss a stone into a pond, you get ripples. Well, this idea suggests that any vibration, whether it's a word we speak or even a thought we have, creates similar ripples in the very fabric of the cosmos. Every sound is a cosmic event. Now, the people pushing for this integrated approach say it's not just some academic exercise. The goal, the big vision, is to help humanity move forward in a way that's sustainable and guided by universal values like compassion. They're calling for an open investigation, one that takes ancient wisdom and combines it with real, rigorous scientific methods. And you should know, this isn't just some fringe theory anymore. The source material points out that serious scientists, we're talking neurosurgeons and biophysicists, are now actually exploring these ideas. They're trying to figure out how to scientifically measure the effects of these specific vibrations on our brains and our bodies.
So, where does all this leave us? Is this a real path to a new kind of human progress? Or is it just a cool coincidence? Let's explore that in the final part of our story.
Get this. The argument made in the source material is that our modern science, with all its amazing power, has only really explained about 7% of our brain's true potential. That leaves a whopping 93% of our own minds is basically uncharted territory. And that, they claim, is the territory that this new, integrated science could finally start to explore. In the end, it doesn't really matter if you come at this from a spiritual angle or a scientific one. What it really boils down to is a sense of awe. Even Einstein said it himself, this feeling of unbounded admiration for the structure of the world. This research, this whole idea, is really just another way of trying to appreciate and understand that incredible, intricate structure. And that leads us to our final thought, a question to leave you with. We have explored the farthest reaches of space and the deepest parts of our oceans. But maybe, just maybe, the next great scientific frontier, the biggest discoveries still to be made, isn't out there at all. Maybe, as these ancient traditions and modern experiments are hinting, it's been inside us all along.